Greetings. I'm Lean Bear. And if you want to quit drinking and start creating, check this out. This is something you might be interested in doing. That's a much better use of your time and energy. So, I've got this here song that I've been working on for a few weeks now, and it's almost done. Needs some more work on the MIDI drums. Sound too much like MIDI drums, and there's some work that needs to be done on those. And it occurred to me the other day that it could use some cellos. So I just made a video on how to download and install decent sampler, a VST instrument, free VST instrument, and this cello sample library, Venus Theory Strands, which was programmed for a decent sampler. So that's what I'm going to be using for this session. And normally for these mixers logs, I do the I just review what I've already done. This time I'm just going to do something a little different. I'm going to record this as I track these cello parts. And I don't know, I just thought it might be interesting to include some more actual tracking workflow into this content. So anyway, here we go. I haven't really practiced. I haven't even composed the parts yet. I just basically remember the chords, and I'm not a keyboard player, so I'm just flying by the seat of my pants as usual. But anyway, we're going to start with the intro here. So I'll just go ahead and play it. And I've got an idea the intro is a chord progression, 2 cycles of a chord progression. And I thought for the first cycle, I would just do single keys on the keyboard. And then the second cycle, I might do some triads. So without further ado, I'm just going to give it a go here. I'm not going to actually track all these real time in the actual video, but for the intro, I'm reasonably confident I can pull it off. So here goes. So I'll, if you're new to this, if you were attracted by the thumbnail, or the sign that I put up at the beginning. This is a digital audio workstation. It's a piece of software. You can figure out how it works and how to do it. If you've ever mastered or become competent in any sort of software, you can do this also, and you can make your own little home studio with a computer and some free software and a USB microphone, maybe a MIDI controller, keyboard. They're not that expensive these days. With a MIDI keyboard, you've got access to any kind of instrument or sound effect that you could think of. And you don't have to pay for it. I mean, you could. There's, of course, endless stuff that you could pay for. But especially to get started, there's no need to pay for anything. That's a really cool thing about it. I don't pay for any software. Everything I use is free. course, if you're a guitar player or you play any other instruments, you can just use what you have and what you know how to use. And DIY. That with some skill and a little bit of dedication, persistence, you'd be amazed what you can do. All right? So, if you're new to this, don't be daunted by the software and the fact that this is new and unfamiliar. Don't worry about that. There is a link in the description to a tutorial series on how to get started with this software and with this pastime. If you can't sing, you can't play, don't worry about that. You can learn. It's never too late. And this is the sort of thing that you do for yourself. We're not trying to land a recording deal. It's for personal cultivation, and for some people it could become a matter of survival, as it was for me. Okay, so without further ado, track 10 right here is, you can see it's called Decent Sampler. And that's this. This is my VST instrument. This is a software instrument. I'm controlling it with see that? Controlling it with this MIDI keyboard. But if I click on this track, that's a different instrument. Right? And all right, so we're playing cellos. And okay, so did I play the intro already? All right, well, I don't think I did, so I'm going to go ahead and play the intro. Now, already I've got this Hammond B2 organ simulator already tracked, and that's mid-range, and I've got this synthesizer part called a vital synth, and that's sort of up in the trebles. So I'm gonna play the cellos really dark and low. But here's what it sounds like right now. If I click solo, that's the Hammond organ. And that's the vital synth. And the drums are about to come in. There's the drums. That's the intro. So I'm gonna. So in order to get this track ready for recording, I'm going to hit this record button on, record on, and I'm going to click this arrow right here to take it right back to the beginning. There's some space for what do they call it? Clocking in. I've got metronome set to to play during recording. So there will be a click track while I'm recording this, and I'm just going to start with the single note line during the first chord progression cycle. So this is what this is going to sound like. We'll see how it sounds. Okay. Wait a minute. Let's start at the right time. Let's just check. Yeah, I started at just the right time. Okay. So it goes, hang on. Click, 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 click. And it starts. Okay. 6 clicks and then it starts. So here we go. All right, so I don't think I hit that perfectly the way I wanted. So one of the reasons I'm doing this is if you did click into this to see what it's about, I'd like to kind of like show you in some detail what you can do with this kind of setup here. So you see these blips down here. Okay, I just, that's what I just recorded. That's what I just tracked. Now, you see these up here, these are sound waves. These are audio tracks that I recorded through the microphone. This one recorded through the microphone. This is the acoustic guitar part. And it makes these waveforms, right? Right now, these notes that I played, these are just sort of blips in the computer. These represent, these are just virtual notes. Think of them as virtual notes. All right. These are not notes that have been recorded as sound information yet. These are just computer information. These blips are telling the software instrument when to start, when to stop, how loud to play, and so on. Think of it kind of like a piano roll on a player piano, except we can edit the roll, which is what I'm about to show you right now. So I'm just gonna turn off this light here. Oh, you have to even turn this one off here. And that makes, yeah, that should be fine. So how did I get into this? Here's what I just recorded down here, and I just double left clicked on the top part of it right here where it says record. Click, click. And now I've got my piano roll. And let's just play back through that and see what it looks like. So right from the very beginning, there's this silent gap of a couple of bars before it starts. And you can see the line coming across, and up here is my metronome. Okay, and see, metronome during playback. I'm going to turn that on so you can hear the click, click, click. Now, pay attention to these vertical lines and listen to the click. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. See that? So you can see here that this note actually starts a little bit early. Can you see that? So, like if I go in here and I'm going to go up here, kind of bring this down a little bit. And so here's what I just recorded. This is called the track view right here. And this is you can see right here it says piano roll right down there. And then that's console view. That's the same tracks that you see horizontally right here, except they're vertical right here. Okay, so we're in piano roll, and I'm going to solo this cello part. And let's watch and listen. Now, this cello doesn't have a very sharp attack where it suddenly begins. It's kind of a very soft beginning, so you can't really hear that it's late, early. But I'm not. Of course. Well, look, I'm just going to show you something that we can do. Being human, and okay, like really good musicians can be pretty on point in terms of their timing. A good keyboard player practiced, and it depends on the keyboard and the feel of the keyboard, but I'm not a keyboard player, so my timing is not going to be great. If I want my timing to be like technically perfect, I click the Q key on my computer keyboard, and I'll get this. Well, I should. Hang on. Q. Well, let me see. Well, my keyboard's working. Q. Control Q? No. I'm going to pause it for a second while I troubleshoot this. All right, I figured it out. I forgot. Before doing this, you have to make sure that I'm going to zoom out here. You see where that says zoom in, zoom out, so I can see everything at once, all the blips. You got to make sure to click that once so that all of these are selected. The whole thing is selected. Then hit Q on the keyboard, and you get quantize. Quantize is just going to put all the blips on match them up with the metronome, with the tempo. This is something. There are some settings here that depend on what you're working with. Generally, one quarter note generally works. Okay, and you see that everything sort of gets squared up with the lines, right? So let's just listen to how that sounds played back. Just going to click in right there and. No, I don't think, for this song though, I don't think I actually want to quantize it. Because there's something about this song, I actually went through this with the drums. And I ended up leaving the drums are also MIDI programmed. And I ended up leaving most of the drum hits kind of like slightly before the lines. And I'm not exactly quite sure why that's the case with this song. Yeah, It just has to do with feel. It's just the kind of thing that you have to figure out for yourself. But let's just see how it sounds without quantization. Maybe my timing wasn't so bad after all. That's pretty good, right? Well, let's hear it in context. Unsolo it. Mute. Muted it. Okay. All right, so there's one note here that I forgot to play. It's right here, and I don't have to go back and re-record this. I don't have to like hit record again and try to punch it in on the keyboard. I can just manually add that note right here in the piano roll, which is really cool. I mean, theoretically, technically, I could just if I really know what I'm doing, if I've got it all in my head, I could just go in here and manually draw the whole cello part, all the cello parts, just draw them in straight into the piano roll without ever touching the keyboard, the MIDI controller right here. Okay, but with me, generally, it's a mixture. You know, it's like I'll do a basic tracking on the keyboard, recording on the keyboard, and then I'll do some editing here in the piano roll. That's how most people generally work, right? So here's the change that I'm going to make. So now I'll turn off the metronome for playback, and so right here I want to add so right here is our note. It's a C. So I can play all these notes on the keyboard over here to the left. And I want to add this B flat, or no, not B flat. It's an E flat. I want to add this E flat here. This starts on a C minor chord. E flat is the minor third, flatted third of the C minor. So I want to add that roughly right around here, right? And so right about here. Okay, so how am I going to add that note? I got my little pencil right here, and I'm going to double click, left button, double click, and I just added this note. It's too long. I just want it to be about that long right there, and that may not, that might be the correct timing. It may be a little off, so we'll find out right now. And I want to, I don't want these two notes to play at the same time, so I'm going to see where it gets double arrows right there, and I left click and drag, and I can shorten it like that. So let's see what it sounds like now. Solo. Okay, I think the timing is a little off there, but let's find out. Maybe one click that way. Solo again. Maybe a little bit more. Again, the attack is really soft, so it's really hard to tell exactly where it hits. but I want it to feel right. One and two and three and one and two and three. One and two and three and one and two and three. I wanted to hit on the two and one and two and three and one and two and one and two and three and one and two and three. Yeah, so the and should be like right there. Okay, that sounds about right. This one, just visually, I can see that that should also come in on the and it's a little bit early. Just manually change it. This one also, but again, the attack or the onset of the note is so soft and spongy that it doesn't really have to be precise, you know. Now this is my volume fader here. So, yeah, you can see that the track is called Decent Sampler because that's the name of the player, and I can rename it Cello. Click, click, and Cellos because it's going to be Cellos. Rename it Cellos, and now over here it's called Cellos. And in digital audio recording, digital audio work, our ceiling is 0.0 in terms of volume. Okay. Now I've got this. You can hear it again. You can hear the Hammond organ. Whoops, I soloed it. I want to mute it. M is mute. So I'm just going to hear the Hammond and the Vital. Now, I don't want the cellos to, overwhelm the Hammond, right? So I think they're a bit too loud, right? I want to hear the Hammond a bit better, but I don't want the cello part to fade out to where you can't hear it well enough. So you got to find the sweet spot, right? So here I have it set at -3.7. Okay, now I can hear the Hammond. You can hear it. The Hammond has a very sharp attack, meaning there's like almost like a little click or a pop where each note starts, and you can hear it quite clearly now. And if I mute the cellos, and then if I unmute it, you can hear the cello come back in. So I'll mute the cello. Unmute. Again, mute. I'm going to set this at like minus 7.5. Click, click. Type it in. Dial it in. Minus 7.5. Listen to it one more time. Mute. Unmute. And you can hear that the cool thing that the cello does when the note is sustained for long enough. You hear this kind of gnarly stuff going on with the bow. I'll just solo that right here. You can, right? I guess maybe that's some kind of like realistic stuff that happens with bows. But anyways, so that's cool. That's a good beginning. So now I'm going to go ahead and get right back into, well, now I'll leave it here in piano roll view. I'm going to go ahead and attempt to add my triads in the second part of the intro. Triads just meaning chords that have 3 notes in them. And that's going to actually make two separate pieces in this track right here. The 2 separate chunks that I'm going to show you how to combine them into one. All right. So the first thing before I do this, this is my record button. And I want to right click that and make sure that it's sound on sound. If it's on overwrite, then you see I'm going to start the recording about right here. And if it's on overwrite and I start the recording right here, then it's going to erase what I've already recorded and lay down, well, in this case, it would just be silence before I start playing again. I want sound on sound so that it won't overwrite. It won't erase what I've already recorded. Okay? Okay. So, let's see, it's going to be... Pause and be right back. I just got to make sure of something. All right, I think I'm ready to go. So, all right, take solo, unclick solo. I don't want it soloed. And this is a record arm button. That's armed, ready to go. And metronome, don't really need it right now. It's just you need it to start from the beginning, but don't really need that at this point, so I'm going to turn that off. And there's going to be drums coming in anyway, so we give it a try here. I messed up, of course. Control Z. Whoops. Control Z. There we go. All right. All right, I missed my change. Okay. Again. Okay, that went pretty well. You can see that actually I did more than just triads. Here I added some extra notes here. So, but basically, part of triads. And the timing looks pretty darn good, actually. And I'm reminded I did the same thing with the drums. For some reason in this song, it's just got a swing or a feel to it where these notes should start just slightly ahead of the vertical lines. Again, don't know why that is. Like a jazz drummer would probably know exactly why. I don't. Anyway, so let's just go back. Oh, so I'm going to show you. You can see up here we've got two different takes, right? You can see that how that line separates them right there. So, well, I can select A, select all, right? I can do that. Or I could just like click on one and shift and click on the other one. And the same thing. I move this back and forth. Okay, there they are, right? They're all white. They're all selected. And then I go anywhere up here, and I right click and bounce to clips. And now it's just one piece, right? And let's go back and hear how it sounds from the beginning. All right. Nice. Now this one here, actually, unintended, I actually I caught it while I was doing it, but I released this this note right here, this D. I released it too soon. So, whoops. Oh, undo, Control Z. I got to make sure that only that note is selected, right? And I'm just going to drag this, make it longer. See if that sounds better. Yeah. All right. Good. So far, so good. Now, while I track other parts of the song, or maybe while I prepare to track the next part of the song, I'm going to pause this. But before I do that, and again, this is for if you're new to this process, okay? There's something that we have here called, you see where it says FX? Now I'm going to see where it says collapse right here, that little button. It takes me back to track view, all right? And I'm going to insert something that we call a plug-in right here, or as I like to call them, tools. These are tools that we use to shape the sound, to put it simply, okay? Now, Well, I'm going to show you how I do things. Like, I've just tracked something. This is how I do things from the beginning. I've got this new track 10. It's called Cellos. And here it is right here. Here's the vertical. Here's the horizontal strip. Here's the vertical strip. And I've got my volume at -7.5. Oh, by the way, I'm not recording right now, so I'm going to click that off and disarm it. And then, all right, so this is a digital audio workstation. And there's a signal path that runs through this thing. And the audio signal goes through various stages of processing and manipulation before it ends up in what's called the master channel right here. That's at the end of the chain, where all of these different instrument tracks, vocal tracks, whatever, they all come together. They're all funneled together into one signal for final processing and export to a WAV or an MP3 file. Okay. So these are plugins that are being applied to all of these tracks in one mix. These are plugins or tools that are being individually applied to each track, right? Individually. Okay. And but the signal path enters the DAW, in this case Cakework, and the first thing that it passes through is not this stage, this instrument track stage. First thing it passes through is, let's just scroll up here to the top of this vertical strip. You see this knob that says gain. This is the entry point of the audio signal into Cakewalk, into the DAW. It enters right here. And with this, like, for example, if this cello instrument was really too soft and it has no volume knob, right? And let's just say that I had this set to 0.0, not -7.5, but 0.0. And it's just, for some reason, the source is just too quiet. One thing I might consider doing is turning up the gain knob. This is the volume control at the input point, right? I've never had to do this, but it's one thing that you might need to do at some point. Or if the source is too loud and too hot, you might need to turn the gain knob down a little bit. But it's something that I've never had to touch, but that's what it's there for. It's your front gate to the DAW, the digital audio workstation. Now, when I say DAW, D-A-W, DAW, that's what that means. Now, I'm going to click this button right here that says Show or Hide Pro Channel. When I click this, this is the first thing that the signal passes through on its way to this right here. And this is where we do some kind of initial EQ settings and other settings, okay? And so since I'm just going to, I'm not going to spend a lot of time here right now. I'm just going to make some initial settings and just see if they sound all right. Okay, so in this case, I'm just going to kind of start where the chords start in this, and I'm going to solo it. Uh-oh, I think I made a mistake. No, I didn't. Okay, even though reverb, I had reverb turned all the way down in this instrument, it still sounds like it's in a room. It sounds like reverby. I mean, for crying out loud. Let's listen to it with the reverb. Wow. Still sounds nice, but too much, man. Like that's roomy sounding enough to me. Now, it's good. This suits my purposes. I'm going for a certain kind of sound with this song and with this album that I'm working on. This song is part of an album that I'm working on. And even though I'm recording all of these songs in this little bedroom studio of mine, I want to create the illusion that these songs were recorded very loud and in a very big open space. All right? Not necessarily an enclosed open space. Like something like, like Red Rocks Amphitheater in Colorado, you know? Like it could be outdoors, very big, and very loud. That's the vibe that I'm going after. And so if I had gotten like a really dry cello sample library where the cellos sound like they're just like in a dead room. Dead means just like no reverb, no reflections, just right there, right in front of you, right next to you, you know, very dry. Then I would have had to apply some, perhaps put a reverb on it. But I'm not going to have to do that because it already has this kind of open, echoey, distant sound to it, which is great. You know, it's just less that I have to do to it. But I'm going to apply some, I'm going to start with some EQ. Okay, and I click here and I've got all these presets. And, you know, and so I might start with, now, these are suggestions, these presets, right? Just because it says vocals doesn't mean you have to use it for vocals. I mean, there are vocal presets that I've used for guitars, for example. But anyways, this says like orchestral string section. Let's just click on that. And now you look at this EQ curve, and these are low frequencies and mid-range and high frequencies, and you can see that there's a roll-off in the bass frequencies that begins around 500 hertz, and rolls off down to where it's at minus 18 dB at 100 hertz. Okay, so this is going to sound quite different when I play it back with the EQ on. Here's the on-off button for the EQ. So let's A/B that. That's on, off. Okay. Now, is something being lost when I engage the EQ? Yeah, something's being lost. It doesn't sound as open, doesn't sound as airy. There's not as much of it. But sometimes, not only is that desirable, sometimes it's necessary for the sake of clarity. A lot of mixing is it's not adding EQ bands in the EQ. It's subtractive, making space, right? Now, in a sense, I was already doing EQing when I chose to play the cellos very low down in the bass range. I was already doing EQing. That's called the arrangement stage. So that's the way most EQing should be done. Actually, is the stage of arrangement. So I've already done that. I might not even need to do any EQing. Okay, I'm just checking it out to see if it might. You know, it's something that you should sort of just test and see if you need it. This is what I do anyway at the beginning. So now I'm going to take I'm going to unsolo the cellos, and I'm going to A/B the EQ with the cellos in the mix. Okay, so let's just start from the beginning right here. And I'll be toggling this EQ on-off button as I go along. So EQ in is on. I'm going to start here. Hang on. So watch how I work with the interface. Look carefully, because I'm not going to explain every little thing I do here, but watch. Watch how I'm doing this, right? I'm dragging with the left button on the mouse. And then look over here what I'm doing. Zoom in horizontal. Okay. Yeah, so I want to start about right there. Not there, not there. I want to start about right there. Okay. Oh, right there. EQ is on. Now I'm going to turn the EQ off. I don't think I need that EQ on right now. But later on in the song, where there's the arrangement becomes a lot more full and there's a lot more going on down in the bass frequency range, I might decide I want to apply this EQ later on in the song. And in that case, I will use automation to so that when the song begins during this intro section, the EQ is bypassed, and then at some point in the song, the EQ is automatically unbypassed or engaged, turned on. Okay, but for now I'm going to leave it off. So tube. Well, I'm going to go to console, and I'm not going to explain what this is right now, but you can look up console emulation. Warm with rich low end. Neve, I just like this one. Let me just solo it and solo. Okay, I'm going to go for that one. Clean and transparent. All right, and see if tube, mix bus warm. Let's see. Now here's the enable button right here. So I'm gonna A/B it. Makes it a little bit louder, a little more present, you know? It has a little bit more energy. This is a tube stage emulator. Let's see what it sounds like with that on in the mix. Not needed. Not necessary. This is a compressor. If you don't know what a compressor is, I'm not going to explain it right now. You can look that up. Just go to your browser, your search engine. Brave browser has an AI search engine that's really good. You can type in audio, what does a compressor do? And it will explain it to you. And I'm not going to use that either because it's just not needed here. But one thing I'm going to try now. So I'm going to go back to my regular track view here. And by the way, DJ, I should have said this earlier, DJ, or Ninko or anybody. This is all old hat to you, so, skip ahead if you need to. This is for noobs, if they should happen to watch, okay? Now, I'm going to try, this is it's kind of a compressor, but it's, okay, I don't really have time to explain everything, but just look at this thing and listen to what it does. This is just kind of initial processing that I do, just to make things sound as nice and balanced in terms of timbre and energy and the dynamics and other things. Let's listen to this solo again, and I'm just going to just watch what I do and listen. Let me move this over here where it's a bit more visible to you. All right. I'm trying to find a sweet spot, okay? Just sort of sweeping it back and forth and finding a spot where it sounds, in my opinion, where it sounds the best. You hear that shudder right there? Listen to that. Listen for that. I'm listening to that right now as I make adjustments. Okay. The more this is bouncing up and down, the more dynamic the signal is. Now, this is not a very dynamic signal at all, but it does have kind of like little microdynamics that are going on, which is why those bars are bouncing. They're not bouncing very much. They're kind of bouncing in a flickering way. I should turn on my face cam there. I should have done that earlier. They're kind of bouncing like this, right? They're not jumping up and down the way drums or something a lot more dynamic might do, but they are kind of doing this. And then the more I turn this knob, you see, whoops, I turned it back off again. Hang on. Come on. There we go. So, I did it again. Okay. See that? And you can hear the difference. I like it like that. Flickering and bouncing there. It just sounds more energetic to me. More vibrant. So, that's where I'm going to leave this for now. And we can A-B that. So you can hear. Again, we'll start it right here because this section is better for hearing what it does. Right? Just sounds more present and more alive. And then listen to it in the mix again. And it has been, this is also a compressor. I guess it's primarily a compressor. So I might need to turn this down over here a little bit. Bring the volume fader down to, let's say, 7.9. Bring it down to 9. All right, that sounds pretty good. One other little thing I'm going to do is I'm going to try to give these cellos a little bit of stereo space. And the first thing I'm going to try is this thing called Wider, which is it's got no, it has no presets. Okay, you can hear what it does. I'll just solo the cellos again and just listen. It gives them a wider stereo. It widens the stereo field. Okay, so listen to it in the mix. Totally different, eh? And it makes more space for that Hammond. Let's listen again. So go back to the beginning. Now, this widening, this stereo widening effect also makes those cellos sound louder. You might have noticed that, right? If I solo them here, you'll hear what I'm talking about. Right? So hear how they sound louder? So I just took the volume down a bit And let's just play it back again in the mix. All right. I'm not totally happy with this. I don't know why. I'm going to bypass wider, and I'm going to try another option. So if I go into console view over here, and I go over here to, I've got this. I got another option here. This is called a bus. And this is a same thing. It's a stereo widener, and but I've got several different tracks, kind of like all passing through this on their way to the master. It's kind of a detour that I can send tracks that I want to send through this for processing before they go back separate and get recombined, where everything gets recombined. Some tracks get combined in this thing that I want. Selected tracks get combined here. And then they all get combined here. Okay? So this is another widener here. And so I'm going to try. Here you say it's cellos right there. And I'm going to do a send. This bus is called SRSLY for seriously. And I'm going to click send. Seriously, and that sends it to the widener right there. I've got this widener turned off, sends it to this widener here, and let's see how that sounds. I'm liking this better. Sounds more natural. Yeah. So I'm just going to go ahead and delete. Sometimes I like this plugin better. It just depends on the track. It depends on the instrument. It just depends. And I don't know. There's no rhyme or reason that I can discern so far. Just sometimes I prefer this one, and sometimes I prefer this one. But anyway, in this case, hands down, I prefer this one. And this just controls the amount, basically how much I want this track processed by this plugin. All right? So not 100%. I've got it, down minus 3.9, whereas like 0.0 would be 100%. Okay? And I'm just kind of I'm liking the way it sounds right there. It just sounds more realistic and more alive and more like it happened in a real place. And I might even have to turn this down even more. Yeah. I got it all the way down to minus 15. Yeah. All right, this part right here. Hang on. Hang on. Something's not totally making sense right now. Oh yeah, I just couldn't see this blip right here. Okay, again. All right, now, so I want these notes right here, these three notes right here, as these rising notes. I want them, especially that third one, is not really poking out enough. And so that's a good opportunity to show you something else in the piano roll. Click, click. All right, here we are back in the piano roll, and that note is right here. Okay, so right there. There's that note. And let me see, how do I hide the controller pane? There, that's the controller pane. All right. These bars right here, velocity. Velocity means basically the individual volumes of each note, okay? Now, as you can see, some are softer and some are louder. It's because I played them with the keyboard, and this keyboard is velocity sensitive. The harder I hit the key, the higher the velocity, the louder the note is going to be. And the lighter I hit the key, the lower the velocity, and the quieter the note is going to be. Obviously, I'm human, and I'm not a robot, so the velocities are going to be inconsistent. Inconsistent in a pleasing way, according to my skill, right? This inconsistency has nothing to do with my skill. So, and this is also adjusting velocity especially when we're doing drum parts with MIDI. If every drum hit is 100 velocity, it sounds unnatural. It sounds like it sounds like a computer beat, right? And so one way to make it sound more human and more natural is to vary the velocities of the hits. Okay, so so that's maybe, I want the first one to be nice and loud, right? Maybe not that loud. Maybe like that. Anyway, I'm going to come back in here later and get anal about this, okay? But I'm not going to do that just yet. In general, I want the first one to be, in these pairs, I want the first one to be a little bit quieter and the second one to be a little bit louder. But right now, I'm just concerned with this note right here. And well, I'm going to take this one down a little bit. I'm really going to max this one. All right, so let's hear how it sounds. me see. Let's solo this. I want this note to poke out more right here. This one. That. Okay, that made it poke out a little bit more. You know, to make sure there's no overlap there. And maybe this note should start a little earlier. No. How about right there? Stir it in the mix on solo. Well, it's still not poking through. I'll worry about that later. Okay, so main thing is to just kind of like, if you're new to this, start to give you some idea of how this is done. And maybe pique your interest. You know, this doesn't. You don't have to be a genius to do this stuff, and you can't do it if you're drinking yourself into an oblivion. You can't be boozing to do this. And so this is just way better than drinking, man. Way better than drinking yourself to death. And at the end of it, you got something to show for it. At least show to yourself, if to nobody else. But sometimes other people are appreciative of it. Okay, so anyways, I'm going to pause this and figure out my next part and come back and track it. All right, so I think I'm ready to track the next part. I'm not going to put cellos in the first chorus because I want there to be, I want the second chorus and the third chorus to be more built up than the first chorus. I'm going to reserve cellos for, I haven't decided yet, but I am going to put cellos in the second verse. And that is where I'm punching in here, right at the end of the first chorus, going into the second verse. And let's see if I can pull this off. Here we go. Let's see. Oh, I need to arm the track. Armed for recording. And let's give it a shot.
Is this time to atone for my confusion, or to stick out my chin and shed the old skin of disbelief? And this life as it is, boundless as the black seas I once crossed in defiance, can I too drown in its healing? Where was I?
Okay, it sounds like that came off reasonably well. I think I might have accidentally hit the wrong key a couple of places. But nothing I can't fix with a little editing, as you've already seen. So, I do want to double click here, get it at the piano roll, and look at my velocities. Well, might come back like these right here. Should probably right there is where I that there is a wrong note, that little blip right there. So I'm going to right click on that and it disappears. Okay. And this one here, well, I could come in just a tiny bit earlier right there. You can see how my timing was pretty good. And yeah, these notes should start like just ahead of the vertical line. They didn't on this chord for some reason, but I'm just going to leave it be for now. There's another little blip right there that I'm just going to make sure I got the 4 arrows, all arrows. 1, 2, 3, 4. That means it's right over target, and right click, bloop, it's gone. Remember, to add a note, double left click. To delete a note, single right click. And, you know, yeah, let me see. I'm just going to go ahead and make these little, it should be like, yeah. So this one here also. Now, again, you don't want things like too perfect sometimes. Sometimes you want things to be imperfect. If it's too perfect, it doesn't sound human. But in this case, so you see, now what I did there was, let me undo that. So right there, to select all 3 of these notes and change them all at the same time, instead of left click and drag to select all, I right click and drag, and that selects all of them. And then I just drag one, and they all go together like that. And let me see. Well, some of these velocities are. Okay, you can see that there's, now this is something I haven't quite figured out here. You can see that down here, these 3 velocities are all piled on top of each other, and so to individually adjust them, you kind of got to get good with the cursor. You see how that is right there? Yeah. And this one's a little bit quiet. That's a little bit too quiet. Oh, also, I gotta show you. I did find a volume control setting in the player right here. Let me see. So there's a player, and oh no, wait, it's not on the screen. Hang on. Okay, so here there is a volume control. and it's by default at 0.0. I set it at 6. And I don't know, this is a little weird. Normally you'd have like a volume knob, and I don't know why default is at 0.0 and it's still pretty quiet. I don't know, maybe this is the wrong thing to do, because I already had the volume fader set down quite a ways, so I don't know, maybe I shouldn't be doing this. Okay, I'm going to set that at 0 again and just work with my volume fader over here in the channel strip right here. Anyway, let's go back. Let me go back to the beginning and okay, let me see how this is doing volume wise here. Could be a little bit louder. Let's try it. Solo. I leave that as it is for now. This second verse is quite a bit louder than that intro, and so let's see how well we can hear the cellos in the second verse. Tell you what, since this may be your first time hearing the song, I'm just going to play it from the beginning, and let's see what it sounds like when the cellos come in for the second verse. All right, here we go. We go ahead and disarm recording again and unsolo. All right.
Is this time to stand or drop to my knees? Time to raise my hands, mouthing silent pleas. Can I cry it out? Can I take to task reasons for all my doubts down there? Would it Where was I going when the light wasn't showing the path pulled out from under my gaze? And where was it leading? Past the end of the bleeding, my wounds cauterized by the blaze of an anger too tired to keep feeding a fire that had set all my soul on smoke. And where was the meaning in such drifting and dreaming when the drapes parted and I awoke beyond words and alone to the shapes of my bones. Is this time to atone for my confusion, or to stick out my chin and shed the old skin of disbelief? And this light as it is, boundless as the black seas I once crossed in defiance, can I too drown in its healing? Where was I going?
Had to unmute there. Well, it sounds pretty good. I did bring the volume down a little bit during that second verse. And let me see. Let me go back here to. I'm going to have to make some leveling decisions. I think that the cellos part could actually come down a little bit. I like the level of the cello in the intro, but in this part where everything is quite a bit fuller and louder, I think the cello needs to come down a little bit because it's stepping on some other parts. I'll show you what I mean. So, in the second verse, this part also comes in, and that is a synth part, and it sounds like this. There's also this. Which is fine. Yeah, I feel like the cello part could come down a little bit there. So this is something called automation here, where this is my first time using this this cello instrument. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to do it. Now see, I can automate this volume fader right here, but that's not my first choice. That's not my first choice. I would rather automate the volume in the instrument, and then when I adjust the volume in the channel here, up or down, then that will bring, if this is at a louder level and this is at a quieter level, when I slide this up and down, it brings both of these levels up and down together, right? If that makes sense. If it doesn't now, it will. So I'm going to do this. Lanes, show lanes. Right here it says volume. That's the default to automate this volume parameter here. But I can automate a lot of different stuff here, right? So decent sampler, that's my instrument that I'm using for the cello. Choose parameter. And main volume, right? So I'm going to click main volume and okay. So you can see that this line right here says main volume, and you can see it's at 0. Now, what I can do here is I'm just going to, now watch what I'm doing here. Get the double arrows and I left click and I drag. Just want to make this a little bit bigger. And over here I'm going to zoom in. And scroll down here and okay, drag this lane down, this automation lane. And right where this part is going to kick in, I left click and I add a node. And I left click and I add another node and I drag it down a little bit. So now it's at minus 1.59403, whatever. I could, if I want to be more precise about that, I can right click on that node. I can right click on this node and select properties. And then, well, it's a different number here for level. Yeah, I'm not sure why that is, but so this node right here, which is at a lower volume, the value here is 20.8. But if I click on this higher node here, right, and I right click and its properties, that also says 20. Oh, okay, what's going on here? Egad. Yikes. What the hell? All right, let me just make sure that, all right, here's that. Properties, level 20.8, 08. Click, left click, properties. Oh, okay, 25. So this one's at 25, okay. And this one is at 20, basically 21. Now, let's hear how it sounds in the mix. First, let's hear how it sounds with these other two. Yeah, I unsold it, so you're not hearing it now. Okay, now let's unsole all of these and just hear the whole mix. And I will use the mute button to mute this cello, mute the cellos off and on.
Is this time to atone for my confusion, or to stick out my sin?
It's muted and unmuted. Yeah. Okay. Good enough for now. All right, so now I'm going to do something called Shift F. So watch what happens when I click Shift F on the keyboard. It kind of brings the whole project into one space, one window. Everything is there. So when you stretched things and zoomed them, and if you want to get everything reset to one window, it's Shift F. So, again, so far so good. I'm going to click Save because Cakewalk doesn't autosave. It's a great program, but it does have its idiosyncrasies. It doesn't autosave, which is, if you forget to autosave and you're working on a big project and it crashes, that sucks if you haven't saved. Anyway, so now I'm going to record a cello part for the second chorus right here. And then I might be done at that point, because if I like the cello part for the... what I'll probably do is I'll record a cello part for the second verse, and then I'm just going to copy and paste it onto the third verse, and then add a few extra notes in the higher octaves, just to bring it up just another little notch without stepping on other things once again. That might involve another tiny downstep in volume automation. We'll see. There's a bridge, and I may or may not decide to put a cello part in the bridge. You want the bridge to be a different and distinct, a breakaway part of the song, and sometimes that means adding elements, and sometimes it means taking away elements. Just going to have to see how I feel about it. The bridge has chords that aren't in the. It's different from the rest of the song, and I'm not gonna. It'll take me a few minutes to. If I do decide to do a cello part for that, it's going to take me a little while to figure it out. But anyway, I'm going to pause it and figure out my part for the chorus, and then come back and track it. All right, I think I'm ready to give this a go. So I'm going to punch in right around here and arm the track for recording right there. And away we go. Let's see. Yeah, okay. All right, I think that went pretty well. probably a little extra blips I need to delete. But let's give it a listen. First, I want to double click here, get into the piano roll, and make sure we're in the right place here. Okay, so right there is here's where the chorus begins, right here. And there's some overlap with these notes. I might want to tweak that a little bit. Zoom out here tiny bit. There we go. Now let's just give it a listen. Now here, when I mute it, I don't hear much of a dropout from the cellos. I'm not really hearing them. Are you? Let's just start from right here. So that could mean one of two things. Well, it could mean that I need to turn them up. But now if I turn them up and they're stepping on other elements, so that there are other elements that are not being heard as they should, well, then there are other possible courses of action. If I'm really dead set on getting those cellos in there, then I can use things like EQ and compression and other tactics to carve out more of a space for those cellos. And once again, now there's this EQ setting that I haven't used yet, right? And so just for the heck of it, let's turn on that EQ and see if we hear a difference. So so there's my mute button right here. Still not hearing any sort of dropout per se. What I'm going to do is back out a piano roll, and I'm going to go back into my automation lane. Oh, okay, that's one thing I forgot. You see how there's a slope there? I set it down here for the verse. And I forgot there's this other note up here that's still at 0. If I delete that, then, okay, it's straight and it's staying at that level for the duration. But now, right here where the chorus begins, okay, I want to get it right there where the chorus begins. Right there. Now, I'm going to add another node, and drag it up to roughly 0. Okay. Well, 0 point, okay, it's 0 point. This problem with the mouse, you can't get things precise. But let's just have it kick up there a little bit in volume. at the chorus, and let's see what it sounds like. Just for the sake of argument, let's drag this way up. All right, it's up around 0.39. See what that sounds like. Now we should really hear it. Yeah. Let's do it with this this hit right here. Now it's muted. Unmuted. Yeah. So I want to solo it with these other parts here. Whoops. Okay, where are we? Right, I want to go back here before this is the end of the verse, and let's just hear the ramp up. Just out of curiosity, listen to it solo. Well, that's kind of weird. Let me pause this while I see if I'm missing something. Okay, so here's what I've decided to do. The volume automation is working. Now, here is leading up from the end of the second verse into the second chorus, and I've decided to kind of do a ramp up in the cello volume in this last chord here, and so I've got this lower verse volume punched in, dialed in at 19. And this is dialed in at 59. Why 19 and 59 and not 20 and 60? Because I like odd numbers. I'm weird that way. But, so here's what it sounds like solo from here, let's say. And in the mix.
Science, can I do drowning? It's healing.
So that's sounding pretty good to me. Of course, this is not the end of anything. Shift F. There are still tweaks to be made. All right. The velocities are pretty inconsistent. And, you know, yeah, there are just little edits to be made here. But overall, pretty good. I'm going to pause it. I've shown you how to do all that, so I'm going to pause it while I kind of like just do a few basic tweaks here, and then I'm going to show you how I'm going to copy and paste this over to the third chorus back in a flash. Okay, one thing that I will show you here in terms of editing. During this chorus section, I would like well, okay, I want these velocities to be more or less full on. Okay. And now one thing I could do is kind of leave them a little quieter here and then paste them over into the third chorus and then bring them up all full on, but I don't think it's going to make that big of a difference. Anyway, this is something I can do anytime. I can take the pencil tool here and left click and drag all along the top of this velocity level lane and watch what happens. I left click and drag. Hang on. Or I can do this. See that? I can go up and down and I can draw. Okay, but right now I'm just kind of going to go along here, all along the top, drag, and just, they're all going to spring up to the top like that. Like that. Then I can come back later and decide I want to like lower them a little bit, right? But for now, that's what I'm going to do. And I just got a couple other little corrections to make, and I'll be back. Okay, so now I am checking out EQ options. I do want to roll the bass frequencies off of these cellos, but not too much, because there's some richness down there, and but you know, basically everything below 80, 100 hertz is just kind of mud. All right, in most cases. So I do want some roll-off down there. Now I've chosen another EQ setting that I like better called subtle openness. Here's another one that might be good. Although it's just what I'm doing here is I've set a loop with this button right here and this yellow ruler thingy here. That's I'm looping this section and just so I don't have to keep hitting play, stop, start, right? Play, stop. It'll just loop it again and again while I check different EQ settings. So I thought, this is just another part of the workflow. You might want to see it. There's our string section. It's just a bit thin. It's too much of a roll-off. But this warm, you hear that come back, right? I put it back on orchestral string. Now listen when I put it back on warm and clear, or subtle openness. You hear that? But I'm still getting some roll off. You see right around, well, yeah, the roll off starts right around below 100, basically. It starts rolling off here. Now, another thing I can use is a dynamic EQ. As a matter of fact, I do think I'm going to try that. Dynamic EQ just gives you a little bit more precise control over what's being attenuated and how it's being attenuated. So I like this setting as an EQ setting, but I'm going to bypass the EQ. And I'm going to go into effects rack here, and I'm going to insert something called Tokyo Dawn Labs TDR Nova. All right. And I'm going to put it on maybe not 4-band dynamic. Low frequency density. Actually, I'm not sure how I don't understand this plugin well enough. Mid-focus, that might be something to explore. First, I'm just going to try this 4-band dynamic, and I'm going to just drag this down and do like a roll-off right around there. Okay. And I'm not going to mess with anything else here. And just sort of like watch this thing work while I'm going through the loop here. So now I'm using my ears here more than my eyes. Here's the bypass for this tool. I'm going to turn it off and on. You see, I found this spot where it's a little bit more focused and a little bit more clear and less muddy. Let's listen to it again. Listen to it all the way through, bypassed, and then back on. Off, off. So the mids are a little bit more present, a little bit more focused. There's not very much motion going on down here, but I Again, I don't understand this plugin as well as I should. I haven't put in the time it takes to really learn it, so I have a very rudimentary understanding of it. But I like how it sounds, what it's doing, what I'm doing with it right now. So I'm just going to use it for now and make a final decision later. But let's hear it in the mix now. I'm going to turn off that loop right there. And let's just go back a little ways. Let's go back to the beginning of the second verse. On solo? Okay.
Is this time to atone?
That sounds really good.
For my confusion, to stick out my chin.
Yeah.
And shed the old skin of disbelief.
Right. So far, so good.
And this light as it is, boundless as the black seas I once crossed in defiance. Can I too drown in its healing? Where was I going when the light wasn't showing the path out from under my gaze? And
Okay, that sounds good. Good enough for now. Notice that I've got this section here and this section here, and I haven't combined them into one like I did back over here. That's because this part is verse and this part is chorus, right? This part is intro. I recorded the intro in 2 takes, but I put them together because it's one part. This part, which is just the chorus, I want to be able to copy and paste. Now, sometimes you don't want to copy and paste, right? This is a very, very simple part, and it doesn't need a lot of variation. I can get away with it. Okay, there's really no point in tracking it a second time. It's not going to be that much different, that much more expressive either way. Although I am going to, I'm going to add a few extra notes here and there in the higher octaves, okay, and just see how that works. But just to show you how I can do this, there's this button here that says snap. Okay, you can't really see it there because the light from the computer screen is, I guess what I can do here is just for a second, I'm going to turn off this monitor. And you can see that there's this button here called snap, all right? And snap just sort of like, it snaps this time bar to these vertical lines. Okay, so that I can choose a insert point, a paste point with precision. Okay, so monitor back on, and whoa, okay, Cakewalk got kicked. Yes, Cakewalk got kicked down to my laptop monitor. All right. Get that back up here. Now, so I've got, okay, I was pointing to the wrong button. Snap. Anyway, it's right here, and you can see it go on, off, on. There's a snap. And so it snaps. If I click over here, it's going to snap to that point right there. It snaps to that line, which is right where the second chorus starts. Okay, so I select this, boom, and where does the second chorus start? Well, it starts right here. So I've got this selected, and I could Control C, but I'm going to go here and copy. All right, and then I'm going to get there's my insert point right there. It just like a magnet, it just snapped there. And I'm going to edit and paste. And you got to make sure that the destination track where you want to paste is selected. This track 10 is selected. If I'd had another track selected, it would have pasted it up here where I don't want it. Okay? But anyway, that's where I want it. And now it should come in at the right time. Double click and right there. However, you can see that, okay, these are all exactly on the line. Remember how I told you that I want them to be kind of a little bit left of the line? So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to click and make sure they're all selected. And then I'm going to, 4 arrows means drag the whole thing. I'm going to drag them all in unison a little bit that way. Whoops. Here's another thing you can do. You can drag them up and down. I don't want to do that. Just want to drag them left a little bit. Maybe that's a little bit too much. Hang on. Just one click should be enough. All right. Okay, so let's make sure that it's coming in on time. And you see it in the automation lane, it pasted another node. I don't really need that, so I'm going to right-click and delete it. Is there another one? Right-click, delete. All right. So, again, it's at our chorus volume right there, and it's coming in at the right time. So, and then there's an outro section, all right? But this has gone on long enough. I'll just I'll end the video here shortly and do that on my own. You see what this is about now, and it's enough of a lesson for someone who's just getting into this. Okay, so but I'll play from the second chorus into the I'll just play it from here to the end of the song, and then I'll close out. So I was playing the cello along with the outro there. Yeah, I think it's too much space opening up during that bridge. Maybe a single note cello line during the bridge. I'll sort that out later. But I think I will go ahead and track the cello outro while I'm... Yeah, this has gone on a good long time. Won't hurt if it goes on a little bit longer. So... All right, I'm going to go ahead and track that right now. Arm for recording. Actually, I think I might, yeah, I'm just going to give it a try. Hit the wrong note at the very end, but I can fix that. Bing, bing. Right there. There. See, I'm gonna, come on, draw. Why is it not drawing? Here, okay. Well, okay. I don't want them all maxed out totally, but a little bit louder. Let's see how it sounds. All right. Not sure if I want that final note to go on that long. Decide later. But yeah, so the only thing that remains really is that bridge section. And come to think of it, it's gone on this long, I might as well figure it out right now and finish it. So I'm going to pause again, sort it out, and be back. Okay, so I got 1/4 of the bridge section done, and it's a G sharp major 7 followed by a C minor, and it sounds like this. Here. And right when I finished that, my little bunny rabbit hopped over to my feet and looked up at me. Like he needed help. And he does. He's had some digestive problems. And he needs to be cleaned up. So I'm going to pause it again and go take care of the bun. I'll be back to finish this up. Okay, so got Chance the bunny rabbit in the bathtub, all cleaned up. He was a mess. You were a mess, weren't you? Yeah. He usually doesn't like getting a bath, but he kind of knew he needed one. So he was real cooperative this time. Okay, buddy, go dry off. And I finished the bridge section, and it looks like this. Well, I guess I might as well just, it looks like this. Well, I'll zoom out, and it looks like that. And yeah, the chords are kind of weird. There's even this song includes C minor, C major, and C dominant 7. There's C dominant 7 chord in here. And actually, let's see, there's G. The song has some G minor all running through it, but there's a G major in this bridge. So, but it does the job of a bridge. It's a breakaway. That's what it looks like. So now I can, since this is a bridge section, it's a proper section, I can right click on these and bounce to clip. And not that I'm going to copy and paste it anywhere, but why not? It's a section unto itself. So, and then once I'm fully satisfied that I'm done with this, I can bounce it all to one clip if I want. Yeah, this is the third and final chorus here. I will be coming back through and adding some high notes, but is that enough for tonight? It's probably enough. Yeah, that's enough. Well, what the hell? I'll be back. Okay, so we're going to give this a try. Final chorus. See, the space bar functions as a start and stop for both Cakewalk and OBS. So if I'm clicking to OBS, right, it stops. Anyway, I need to punch in a little bit earlier here, so I'm ready. Right, nothing to undo. Okay, let's try this again. Okay, here we go. Okay, so now as you can see, this single line in the upper octave that I just recorded is covering the old, see, I just selected it and those notes up there get selected. So how do I merge these into one if I can't see them both to click on them? So in that case, I'm going to zoom out so I can see the whole section at once, like that. All right, so I can see that whole chorus section at once, and I'm going to right-click, drag, and just get all of that in one selection. Boom. Now I can come up here to track view, right click there and bounce to clips, and there it is. Now it's all of one piece. Okay. And wait a minute. I didn't really want to, hang on, undo. Yeah, I didn't want to include this section over here in that. Let me try that again. Right click. Wait a minute. All right. See all of it at once. Right click. And there. All right, now going to bounce to clips. Okay, there's a division there where there should be. And as you can see, before and after. Okay, so that's enough for this session. I'm just going to go ahead and, well, why not just play the whole thing through from the beginning? And while we're at it, it might be kind of cool to just cue up something visual to watch it to. You made it this far. It might be kind of cool to see if I can match it to something. So I'm going to think on that for a second and be right back. All right, I just picked something on intuition here. And who knows? If it works out, I might just have a music video ready to go. We'll see. Without further ado, well, I can't really sync the start, can I? Yeah, I can. Yeah, I can. Okay. All right. Is that going to work? Yeah, okay. Here we go. Is this time to stand or drop to my knees? Time to raise my hands, mouthing silent pleas. Can I cry it out? Can I take to task reasons for all my doubts down there? Would it be too much to ask? I don't know. Where was I going when the light wasn't showing the path pulled out from under my gaze? And where was it leading? Past the end of the bleeding, the wounds cauterized by the pace of an anger too tired to keep feeding a fire that had sunk all my soul up in smoke. And where was the meaning in such drifting and dreaming when the drapes parted and I awoke beyond words and alone? Well, there were some nice synchronicities. I almost said synchronarities, like I mixed up synchronicities and singularities. Synchronicities. Especially towards the end, like that final chorus with all those shells exploding. Yeah, I just might be onto something here. Wait a minute, what video was that? World War I footage. And it should all be public domain. I just punched it in at 148, I think. Right there. So I'm going to download this, and I'm going to think about using this for a music vid. Anyways, so the cello part is, I'm pretty happy with it. I might try putting a tremolo effect on it real quick before I go here, just see how it sounds. Where is that? Here. STFU. Let's just see. Not this setting. Something more like this, but that's too... something a bit more subtle. Like that. This is a pretty cool plugin. Let's hear what it does. Okay. Oops. Sorry. Yeah, just give it a little bit of a throb. Now let's hear how it sounds in the mix. Well, if I'm going to use it, I'm going to have to bring it up in volume a little bit. Does kind of quiet it down, doesn't it? Let's try this. So now, since I increased the volume in the actual the track volume, it's going to bring both of these volumes up together, right? Or all three of these, actually 3 volumes. It's going to bring them all up together. I hope that's understandable now. Okay, so let's hear what this sounds like. Well, I'm going to have to reserve judgment on that. Volume had to come up quite a bit. I didn't realize that this plug-in was such a attenuator. But anyways, leave it at that for now. And I just hope that one of these days, maybe, this will serve somebody. That's the idea anyway. And DJ Ninko, I'll even mention Josh just in case you guys watching. Thank you. Thanks for being there. Appreciate you guys. And now it's 5:34 a.m. Time for me to take a nap. That's it from lovely scenic Paju City, South Korea. Lean Bear over and out.